Hello. So, it is time for our second match in the OFC off-season. This time, we're up against Yahoodles, I believe. Yeah, we're up against Yahoodles. Their team is pretty scary, I ain't gonna lie. They've got a lot of offensive threats that really have to be respected. They've got Holucha, Ledge, Toxtricity, Ditto, Berserker, Donphan, Low Kicks, and their own Mimikyu that can Terror, alongside the Terror Toxtricity. Looking at the first match that they played, Terror Normal, Boomburst, Toxtricity literally 6-0 their opponent. So we have to be prepped for that. Of course, we also have to be prepped for their own Terror Mimikyu, because we have one, so we know how scary it is. Low Kicks can really ruin teams if not prepared for properly, just because Tinted Lens plus strong priority, and it's reasonably fast too. Base 92 is nothing to scoff at in this format anyway. Ledge, just also insanely good with bulk up. You could do weak armor stuff with it, which I'm pretty sure they did in the first week, first match as well. Ditto can be problematic, means I basically can't set up myself. Donphan's their main source of hazards and removal here, so yeah. And then Holucha, obviously, like, even without terrain support, it's still terrifying, because it can just, like, sub down with Citrus, get an SD off, and then start just going for acrobatics after a Citrus Berry proc or something. So, yeah, terrifyingly offensive team, and we've got to make sure we've got answers to it all. Gonna be tough. But with what we've brought, I think we've got a decent shot. So, main philosophy with a lot of Pokemon here is if it can outspeed Toxtricity, it probably should. Which is kind of where we are with Arcanine. It also outspeeds Low Kicks, which is pretty important, because having something faster than Low Kicks is really nice. We've got the Intimidate on here, and we've got Flare Blitz, Overheat, Crunch, and Morning Sun. Flare Blitz plus Overheat is basically here to see if we can catch Donphan a bit lower. That's why we've got the max attack and then a little bit in special attack, see if we can catch the Donphan, because you can't OHKO Donphan because of Sturdy. So, seeing if we can go for a Flare Blitz plus Overheat to maybe get it, because I think if it's not got defensive investment, Flare Blitz plus Overheat can get it, so... and then we've got Crunch for the Ledge, just in case they see me going for double fire and think I've only got fire stuff. We've got the Crunch for it, and then Morning Sun, just as a last nice filler move. Just keep Arcanine healthy, no reason not to, if we can help it. Next up, Scoff Bombardier, outspeeds everything. I believe this actually goes for outspeeding Scoff Toxtricity, just to make sure we have something that can revenge that. Brave Bird, Knockoff, Stone Edge, and Parting Shot. Really solid lead, really good damage dealer, really good at revenging things, just really solid all around. Really liking Bombardier. You got the Terror Flying. If we're going to Terror something, it's probably going to be this, because we're not going to be Terroring Mimikyu. Mimikyu's typing is actually pretty important for this matchup, so... yeah, just solid damage dealer, and having something that's faster than everything, unless they also have something Scarfed and faster than Bombardier, which I think would have to be Scarf Ledge, or Scarf Low Kicks or something. Probably unlikely. Just nice to revenge a ton of things here. So, next up, the greatest of Tusks. This is faster than Ledge, yeah. Again, making sure I've got the speed advantage, because my ones are just barely faster than theirs in a lot of cases. So making sure I'm faster is really nice, and just having this offensive pressure with Great Tusk is really nice. Like, if Great Tusk can get a hit off, it's gonna do a ton of damage. Headlong Rush, Close Combat, Ice Spinner, and Rapid Spin. If we can get a speed boost with Great Tusk, the game is probably over. Just because of how much damage it deals. It will, like, after a +1, it will outspeed everything that isn't Scarfed. But of course, then I've got to be careful with Great Tusk on their end because of Ditto. Thankfully, I'm not boosting my offense with stat boost, it's just a life orb boost, so we can play around it a little bit. Next up, Assault Vest Mimikyu. Max HP with 8 Spadef and then max attack. With Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Drain Punch. This is our only way to not die to Toxtricity. Literally our only way. Because of the normal typing, we can take on the hits. We can take on the Boom Burst, and if it locks itself into Boom Burst, then we're good to go. But if they go for an Overdrive, because of the Assault Vest, we can take 2. Thanks to Disguise as well, and we can go for a nice Drain Punch back at it, get some health back as well, which is really, really nice. That's why we've got Drain Punch on there. This is mainly here for the Toxtricity and pretty much nothing else. Sneak can be nice to revenge some things if needs be, and the coverage is decent, I suppose, but for the most part, this is going to be here for just taking on Toxtricity. Next up, Orthworm, max HP, max defense. Pretty simple. Heavy Slam, Stealth Rock, Body Press, and Protect. Take for that nice little lefties recovery. Rocks, because it's nice to have rocks. They've only got 1 remover, though I expect it to come regardless. Heavy Slam can do some pretty decent damage, and so can Body Press into a lot of Pokemon, so probably worth having. It's nice into low kicks, even though low kicks does get fighting coverage. It's really good into Mimikyu. That's the main thing. It's really good into Mimikyu. So, like, even if they've got their own Terra Mimikyu, it's gonna be pretty rough for them to try and break through Orthworm, even with SDs and what have you. So, I feel pretty comfortable having Orthworm, if nothing else for Mimikyu, but it's pretty okay against some other things. If Berserker comes, for example, decent against Donphan as well, because Donphan can't EQ us. Not a lot that Donphan can do to Orthworm, just we kind of have a bit of a stalemate. Last but not least, we've got Slowbro, with a pretty good amount of special attack, just because it's our only real special attacker this time around, with Surf, Psychic, Slack Off, and Yawn. The main thing here is actually the defensive investment isn't for anything on their team, it's for my own Great Tusk. The Great Tusk, if they copy it with Ditto, Slowbro can take 2 Headlong Rushes. So, Slowbro can check my own Great Tusk, if needs be. Oh, excuse me. But otherwise, Slowbro is really good offensively here, just not so good defensively. Because obviously, there's Ceruledge, which will hurt me. There's Toxtricity, which will ruin my day. Low Kicks and Mimikyu, all of which will just ruin my day. But if we get it in on something like Donphan, or even like Berserker, or Horlucia, something like that, we can launch off some pretty powerful attacks. Make sure we keep ourselves healthy, as it is a nice defensive piece as well. Like, regardless, and then Yawn can force Witches, which if we get those rocks up, can be really, really nice. If things like Banded low kicks or Life Orb low kicks are coming in to try and take us out, we've got rocks up and force a Yawn on it. That's really, really nice for us. So that's it for the team. Let's get into the actual match, because this is a post-con one. So you can see their team were actually on the wrong side. There we go. Okay, so we've got... They didn't bring Horlucia, and they didn't bring their own Mimikyu. Otherwise, they've got everything else. The Toxtricity, the Ceruledge, the Berserker, the Donphan, the Ditto, and the Low Kicks. So, I was surprised to see no Horlucia, to be frank, but I guess they thought with Slowbro, it's kind of tough to get like that going. And no Mimikyu also makes sense if they expect Orthworm, so... I think here I'm just going to lead Bombardier, just because it's pretty safe into anything. Like, if they lead Ditto, for example, it doesn't really give them that much of an advantage. Like, I feel like it's a pretty normal Bombardier set just to be running triple stab. So, yeah, feel pretty good about leading Bombardier here. Except they lead Berserker, and I'm like, alright. This can have Fake Out, and with Tough Claws, it's gonna do a lot of damage. I don't know if I want to take that off the bat. So, I'm just gonna go straight into Orthworm as they go for a U-turn. And I get to see immediately that that's banded damage, and I'm like, alright, well, that's gonna be a problem later. But here comes the Donphan. I'm like, alright, well, Donphan here probably just gonna go for, like, rocks. Like, I can't spin, but he can, so, like... It makes sense for them to go for rocks. They're not going to EQ, because, you know, Orthworm's here. So, like, it's probably safe for me just trying to get into Slowbro and force this thing out and get a ton of damage on something. So, I get my lefties, and I go into Slowbro, and I get waxed. They take my lefties, and that's also banded damage. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, ow. So, I have to go straight back into Orpheum after losing my lefties, and then I'll lose my lefties on Orpheum, and I'm like, this is not a great start. So, I think I just get my rocks up here, because I'm going to need them. And then because I realize it's banded, I'm going to go for a close combat. I'm not going to go for a close combat. I'm going to protect to see what they want to do, and then see that they're locked into close combat, go into Slowbro, knowing I'm safe, and I can go for a Surf pretty safely here. Or I just switch? I think I switch here, actually. Yeah, because I want the regen. I think I value Bombardier least at this point. Like, if I have to sack something, I can. This match was played a little while ago, but also I might have been reading a switch. Might have been reading a switch into Toxtricity as well. There's a couple things there, but I was like, I don't think, I didn't expect them to stay in, that's for sure. So, but they go to Ditto and they copy Slowbro. And I'm like, alright, so there's no way they stay in here, because I can just, like, knock them for their life. So, but they go for it, and I'm like, alright. So they yawn me, and I'm like, cool, I'm just gonna go back to my Slowbro, because what are you gonna do to me? And then I just take out their Ditto copied as Slowbro. So I'm like, sick, that went amazingly well, considering the start of this match. But obviously Toxtricity's here, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see if my theory will actually work, because it's kind of got to. Here comes the Terra Normal Boom Burst, and Mimikyu gets to deal with it. We hit him with a Drain Punch for a ton of damage, and then Overdrive comes out and does nothing because of the disguise. So here I go for a bit of a risky play, I guess. I go for a Play Rough catching the switch. Play Rough was going to KO. I was like, I know Ceruledge is coming in, but I can't risk it. I can't risk the Toxtricity, like, trying to get greedy and stay in, or, like, trying to sack itself off. So something to note as well is that I'm not running any speed investment, which means, like, they're not running a very fast Toxtricity, which is pretty important to know. But yeah, like, I go for the Play Rough, it could miss, but I figured getting damage on Ceruledge is really nice, especially because I'm pretty sure at this point it actually puts it in Shadow Sneak range. So they go for a sneak on me, but I go for a sneak back, and I get to take out the Ceruledge, which is really, really nice. So, in comes Donphan. I've still got use for Mimikyu, so we're going to bring in Slowbro, and they go for the Ice Shard, which does not do anything. So we do get to go for a Surf here on the switch, and we do get a critical hit. This critical hit did matter. I looked it up afterwards, and this crit, even if they've got no bulk, there's no way that that KOs without that crit. So it would have been some maneuvering with Arcanine, most likely, to try and, like, not lose to this thing. But yeah, so very fortunate crit, cannot lie. Low kicks goes down without much of an incident. So I just stay in with Slowbro because I'm like, I don't think there's any move that they have that can KO us, so I may as well just stay in and try and go for a Surf. It's going to do a lot of damage into whatever comes in. They bring back the Toxtricity, take us out. I'm like, I'm just going to sack it. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to be risky here. Go for the Drain Punch on the Toxtricity as I realize I'm faster. And again, I'm not going to take any risks. I'm just going to Drain Punch the Berserker, make sure I take it down. They go for the Iron Head, take me down, and then we get to bring in the largest and greatest of Tusks and get a very, very useless crit to take home the win. So for some reason it shows Toxtricity still here, but whatever. So really, really nice for us. We get the win. Got a little fortunate for sure. Especially after they just brought so much pure offense. I was not expecting, so... But our defensive pieces managed to hold through, and then we just managed to get the cleanup job done. So, yeah. That puts us 2-0 so far, which is really, really nice. 3 wins will get us guaranteed spot into next round, so let's hope we can continue this run and see what we can get done. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Bit of a quick one, but hope you enjoyed regardless, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.